Hello everybody, so I'm back here again for another album review. Today we are going to review the Beach Boys 2020 album, released February 1969, and kind of a sought-after kind of album just because there's a lot of older tracks used on here, and at a time where, they were, it was like the end, the last, or I guess it was the first of like the non-lo-fi albums, because you have the three lo-fi albums. You have Smiley Smile, Wild Honey, and Friends, and then this is kind of a different direction than those three. But it's a really good album overall. I mean, it's definitely not in my top favorites, but it's still an enjoyable listen. Um, so let's get into the review. Oh, here, I was listening to it yesterday, so I still have the vinyl on the record player, but here's the, I don't have the original, but I've got a reissue. There's the thing with all the tracks inside the Brian, of course. I love this. Um, so it opens with, Do It Again, which started life as a song called Rendezvous, and wound up being put out as a single in the summer of '68, and then it just kind of sat around, and it took a while to be put out on an album, which was this one, of course. I mean, it might have been able to go on Friends, but I don't think it really fits the vibe or like the whole concept of Friends anyway, so I don't know if it would really work on there, but um it's a just kind of like a look back, because they're talking about it. It's automatic when I talk with old friends, and they're talking about the different things, and it's just a different thing because they're kind of just talking about like the old days, which they hadn't done that in a while because they were kind of more focused on the newer material by this time. But nonetheless, a pretty good song, and I enjoy it. um so track 2, we've got I Can Hear Music with Carl on lead. I think I like this more than the Ronettes. It's kind of like a laid back arrangement, but the instruments are all still there. But it's just great. His vocal on that is really, really nice. And, according to Bruce, I don't know if this is true, but apparently that's like the first song that Brian didn't have anything to do with, or one of the first. We just wasn't there, and they were kind of just producing in Brian's house without him there. Um, so that was kind of the thing that was going on at this time. But it's one of my favorites from the album. Track 3, Bluebirds Over the Mountain. This I'm not sure, because the verses are sung by Mike, but then the choruses, online it says that they're Carl and Bruce. To me, it sounds like Carl and Al. Could be Carl and Bruce, could be just Carl. I'm not sure. Carl's definitely in there, in the mix on the chorus, but I'm not sure who's doing the higher part. It could be Bruce, could be Al. I'm not sure. But this was an older song. It was a cover of an older song. And pretty sure Richie Valens does this too. It's a really interesting version of the song, and it's pretty good. Alright, so track 4, we have the first Dennis song on the album, Be With Me, which he's definitely showing that he's improved a lot. He started to show his genius on the Friends album with Little Bird and Be Still, but here is where he starts to get a little bit more experimental, because Be Still is kind of just Dennis's vocal with like a organ behind it. But Be With Me is definitely a nice big production on it, and it's such a great production, and you can definitely hear the elements, or like the it's kind of like a preview in a way, but it's like you can definitely hear the elements of what he would do on Sunflower on this album. But great vocal from him as well. It's just a great production too. Track 5, All I Wanna Do, we have another Mike lead. This is written by Dennis and produced by Dennis. I don't know why he chose to have Mike sing the lead, because the original idea was was to have Dennis sing the lead. And I've heard both versions, and my personal opinion is that Dennis should have sang the lead on it. He's got a more powerful voice for that song, and I think it's Dennis would have definitely done a better job with it personally. But it fits well with the album. So the closing track to side one is The Nearest Faraway Place, which is Bruce's first, like, really major, contribution to a Beach Boys album. And I was thinking about this yesterday, I'm I was, like, if music was, or if words were put to this, to The Nearest Faraway Place, it could really be something, but like it is now, it just kind of sounds like the music that you have when you're when you're on hold on the phone, is what it really is with just the instrumental. I think it fits okay on the album, but I think if it had words with it, it would be a much better thing overall. Alright, so side two, opens up with Cotton Fields, my personal favorite, just because I love Al's vocals, and he's my favorite Beach Boy. This is produced by Brian and Al. Like Cotton Fields, it's an old folk song. Al really loved those old folk songs. Of course, Sloop John B is the major one that people go to. But, Al, did this kind of thing a lot. And he does a really good job with the vocal. And this, I believe, was put out as a single in the UK. UK, it did really, really well. And it wound up on the Sunflower album over there. I really enjoy this. I love it. This is one that I listen to a lot when I'm not listening to the album. Just in, like, my mix when I'm just listening to, like, a shuffle of something. That's one I usually play. I just love it. Like I said, Al's voice is great on it. Again, it has a bit of that, a little bit of a similar production thing to I Can Hear Music, but a little more produced. Just a little bit more, and I like how the way Al's vocal kind of just sneaks in. It starts off quiet, and then it just gradually gets. I love that. And then the drums at the beginning, Al's not even, like, really loud yet, but the drums are right there, and it's great. I really enjoy that. I Went to Sleep, which is primarily a group vocal, but Brian and Carl are kind of in there taking the main lead, I'm pretty sure. Again, this is, mostly like an a cappella piece for the most part. Pretty much is. And, it's a nice, little, like, segue, I guess, into the next song, Time to Get Alone. But it's, there's not a whole lot to say about I Went to Sleep. It's something that Brian would write during this time period, So, like I said, track 3 on side 2, Time to Get Alone. Carl takes most of the lead here. Brian does take parts of it. This song started life in the Wild Honey sessions. There is a version cut that is available that was cut during the Wild Honey sessions. It's on the Sunshine Tomorrow set. But this is a remake of the song cut during the 2020 sessions. And I really enjoy this one. It's a great song, and it goes, like I said, there are certain songs in here that just flow really well with everything else. So track 4, Never Learn Not to Love, another Dennis song. Harmonies in it are great, as always. And again, you see a lot of Dennis's nice production coming in here, and you can definitely see what, like the early parts of what would go on to become things like Forever and Got to Know the Woman and stuff like that. So, yeah. Okay, so then the end of the album is just kind of like, here's a little smile for you, just like, you've had, like, a majority of this be newer songs, besides a couple here and there. Now we're gonna give you 2 old songs, because, why not? So, those are, Our Prayer and Cabanescence. Of course, we all know now, Our Prayer was originally supposed to be the opening thing to Smile. But it wound up being the second to last track, and going into Cabanescence on here. And it actually goes pretty good into Evanescence, even though they weren't originally supposed to go like that on the original album. Of course, we all know it goes from Our Prayer into G to Heroes and Villains. But Our Prayer is, again, it's a group thing. It's just a really nice harmonies on that. It's fantastic. And then you close with Evanescence, which has Carl on lead. And, you get a little smile segment right at the end, which is kind of interesting. And, of course, Evanescence, we all know it's a masterpiece. The bass in that, try listening to it on bigger speakers, it's amazing. You can hear the floor rumble. I was listening to it last night. I was sitting on the couch was rumbling. It was, so, Evanescence, it's a masterpiece. We all know this. Got Carl on the main lead, like I said. And like I was saying, or I was thinking, I was like, Mike's tag on this is really, really good, because, by this time, Mike wasn't getting as much leads, because, of course, Brian knew that himself and Carl were more fit for the material that they were singing at the time. But this little tag here, Mike is singing pretty good, actually. And so, yeah, Evanescence, fantastic. So, there you go. You've got the Beach Boys 2020 from February 1969. Didn't do very well on the charts, I don't think. I didn't get all that stuff, but, Do It Again was a kind of hit, here. But, there you go. Beach Boys 2020.